Welcome. This is video number 388. In this video, I'm going to discuss which countries of the world are the International Monetary Fund's top 10 debtors. Let me start with the introduction. Although IMF is lending money to various countries of the world, and according to official statistics, the total global outstanding debt owed to the IMF stood at 155 billion on March 31, 2023, and this outstanding debt is equivalent to 115.2 billion special drawing rights. Although a total of 93 countries owe money to the International Monetary Fund, the IMF's top 10 debtors still account for the major share, that is about 72% of the outstanding balance. Among these 10 top debtors, Argentina is the biggest borrower of money from the International Monetary Fund, and its total outstanding debt is equal to 46 billion US dollar. The country has had a long and troubled relationship with the International Monetary Fund, with a history of equally spectacular fallouts and bailouts. At the turn of the century, the IMF made 88.3 billion available to bail out the country's ailing economy. Despite discontent and political turmoil, then Argentina repaid the entire debt in 2006. In 2018, Argentina went back to IMF again for a $50 billion bailout package, and that is the biggest rescue in the IMF's history. However, the country soon found itself in dire straits again and returned to the IMF in 2022 for another 44 billion debt. After Argentina, Egypt is the second largest borrower of money from the International Monetary Fund, with an outstanding balance of $18 billion. Its economy deteriorated following the Egyptian revolution in 2011 and falling revenues from the Suez Canal. The government thus sought an IMF deal to unlock $20 billion of cash in 2016. The fund then approved further loans of 2.72 billion and 5.2 billion to address the impact of COVID-19 in 2020. In December 2022, the IMF approved a 46-month loan of $3 billion for Egypt, which has been under acute pressure after Russia's war on Ukraine that perpetuated existing pressures on its economy. Ukraine is the third largest debtor of the IMF, with an outstanding debt of $12.2 billion. The Ukraine government first agreed to a $2.2 billion IMF loan in 1998. The IMF then agreed to lend Ukraine a further 15.15 billion in 2010, but the deal was frozen in 2011 amid the lack of reform efforts, the IMF said in 2012. In March 2023, the IMF dispensed $2.7 billion to Ukraine as part of $15.6 billion loan to support the country's economy after more than a year since Russia's war on Ukraine. This new loan, which is subject to reforms and part of $115 billion total support package for Ukraine, was the first time the fund had extended major conventional financing to a country involved in a full-scale war. Ecuador is the fourth largest debtor of the IMF, with a total outstanding debt of $8.2 billion. After Ecuador, Pakistan has the fifth biggest outstanding debt with the IMF, standing at $7.4 billion. In August 2022, the IMF extended $1.1 billion to Pakistan as part of $6.5 billion programs agreed back in July 2019. the country has asked the IMF for 1.1 billion additional financing to resolve the crisis, but its release has been delayed for months, and IMF is asking for more for funding assurance before approving the package. So Pakistan stands in number 5th position as the among the top 10 debtor countries of the world. Colombia is the 6th biggest debtor of the IMF, and it is the only Latin American country to make it into top 10 IMF debtors with outstanding debt of $5 billion. After Colombia, 4 sub-Saharan African economies round out the top 10 debtors, and these include Angola, South Africa, Nigeria, and Ivory Coast. Recently, the IMF agreed to support packages that include $3 billion bailout for crisis-stricken Sri Lanka and 2.4 billion euros standby arrangements for Serbia. In January, the IMF also approved a $4.7 billion package for Bangladesh, which includes $1.4 billion under a newly created IMF facility aimed at boosting countries' resilience and sustainability. We may sum up who owns more to the IMF. So, as I mentioned earlier, Argentina is the biggest debtor with the total outstanding debt of $46 billion. Egypt ranks second with a total outstanding debt of 18 billion. Ukraine comes third with the outstanding debt of $12.2 billion. Ecuador is at number 4 with the total outstanding debt of $8.2 billion. Pakistan ranks 5th as its total outstanding debt is $7.4 billion. Colombia is number 6th with $5 billion outstanding debt. Angola and South Africa owe about more than $4 billion each to the IMF. Nigeria's total outstanding debt is $3.3 billion, and Ivory Coast has to pay $2 billion to the IMF. No country owes the IMF more money than Argentina, Egypt, and Ukraine. So these are the 3 biggest borrowers or debtors of the IMF. In this figure, you can see that in 4 continents, in America, Argentina is the biggest borrower, and these 2 countries, Ecuador and Colombia, these are the 2 other debtors. Here in Africa, Egypt is the biggest, then Angola, South Africa, Nigeria, and Ivory Coast are the other countries which owe to IMF. In Asia, Pakistan is the biggest debtor of the IMF, and in Europe, Ukraine alone is the biggest debtor of the IMF. So this is the top 10 countries which owe to IMF. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, kindly do subscribe the channel, and do not forget to click on the bell icon. You will get notification about new videos that I'll upload for you. Thank you. Thanks for watching this video and this channel. Kindly share this channel with your friends, with your colleagues, so that the information could reach to all of them. Thank you.